It's TikTok time, BookTok edition. Hello fellow book nerds, this is Gabby and welcome to another reading vlog. This reading vlog is very exciting because lately I got addicted to TikTok. Yes, I'm one of those people now. I watch TikTok every day, okay? I even make them, so I made an account if you're interested. I'm gonna link my account down below if you want to follow me. I have like 55 followers, so I'm famous. But it's been really good fun, like coming out with ideas and stuff. It really like reinvigorated my creative juices. Like I just want to do all these funny sketches and all these funny ideas that wouldn't work as a YouTube video. That just really made me think about all the books recommended. Like BookTok is big, I think. I don't know if it's okay. I don't know if it's big, but it's big what I'm following because the only hashtag I'm following is BookTok. I still get a lot of different content that I'm like, how did you know I'd like this? But anyway, I digress. We're gonna be reading books that I saw on TikTok and the recommendation was just so compelling, I had to read it, okay? So that's the premise of this video. We're gonna be reading 3 books recommended to me by TikTok. So the first book we're going to be reading is a book that not one single video convinced me to read, but everyone and their mother talking about it on my For You page was just made me want to read it real bad. Like I've known about this series for ages, I just never felt compelled to read it. But I'm like, if every single person on earth, and earth being TikTok here, loves it, I need to read it. So this book is actually Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa. Tahir? Don't know what this book is about. I think it's desert vibes. I'm reading it as an audiobook. I'm excited. And just to give you an idea, here's a TikTok that I decided to pick out as the one recommending it, but really could be any of them. Second book. It was just one video I saw, but it was so compelling, I just had to choose it. And this book is The Midnight Bargain by C.L. Polk. This one video compared it to Bridgerton. It was talking about just that one man in a sexist society that loves you, and the Bridgerton again, that really sold me. I love Bridgerton. So this is the TikTok, and you tell me, I'm sold.
Hello gorgeous, I have 3 questions for you before you can go about your day. Number 1, did you like Bridgerton? You probably do because most people like Bridgerton. Number 2, do you like magic? You probably do because you're watching my video, which probably means that you're bisexual, which definitely means that you like magic. And number 3, do you like that trope where it's an incredibly sexist society and there is one man who is not sexist? Like the bar is on the absolute, like the bar is at the bottom of the ocean, but when they're like, I don't want you to be my property. It's so hot! Anyway, if you like all of these things, you should read The Midnight Bargain by C.L. Polk. It's like Bridgerton meets that sound where it's like, how is he so hot and respectful? The last book I'm going to be reading is Firekeeper Daughter by Angeline Boulley. I've heard about this one before and I wanted to read it before TikTok. I'll admit to that, okay? Yes, but still, this TikToker I really like. What's her name? Iman. I really like her TikToks, and she said that it's like insightful and powerful, and yeah, I gotta read it.
You need to read this book. This one right here, Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Boulley. This groundbreaking YA thriller novel follows Donis, an unenrolled tribal member and the product of a scandal. Donis lives her life at the crossroads of several intersectional identities. She's caught between leaving her hometown to pursue her dreams or staying to take care of her mother. After witnessing a shocking murder, she's thrust into a criminal investigation. She goes undercover for the FBI. But the deceptions, the deaths, keep piling up, and soon she must confront how far she'll be willing to go to protect her community, even if it means tearing up the only world she's ever known. This book is insightful, powerful, and important. It's absolutely stunning and beautiful, and you don't want to miss this one.
Alright, so these are the 3 books we're going to be reading. I am super hyped, especially for Midnight Bargain, weirdly, because I don't know anything about it and I haven't heard anyone except that one TikTok talk about it. Nothing will ever be the Bridgerton vibes. But also, Ember in the Ashes, is it as good as everyone says? I don't know. I watched Meg's from Meg with Books vlog and she did not like it at all. So we'll see. Is TikTok right or is Meg right? That's the question for the century. Okay, time for the first book, Ember in the Ashes. So, I started this book already. I am about 30% in. I'm listening to it as an audiobook, and I gotta say, that was such a good decision. The audiobook, at first, I started listening to it, and the female narrator sounded so young, and I was like, I'm not gonna enjoy this, am I? But I love it. I love her. I love that they have separate narrator for the man and the woman, because I don't like it when it's like a romance, but you have to listen to one person do all the voices. It just doesn't work. But in this one, I'm really enjoying the narration. So audiobook itself, really good. And as of synopsis for this book, so basically we follow Leela. She lives with her grandparents and her brother, and one day she finds this notebook in her brother's things, and this notebook is like filled with images of like guns and like weapons, and that's prohibited in the Empire because Leela I think, is what's known as a scholar, and scholars are a race, I'm not sure, group of people that are subjugated and they can't like fight back. They're basically just under the Empire's thumb. So Leela finds this book, and the same day there are these people called masks that come for their family. So masks are like these assassins that have these like metal masks melded onto their face, and they come and they want Leela's brother because someone in the resistance has sold out Leela's brother. God, if it's not Leela, I'm so embarrassed. So he gets taken to be tortured basically, and she escapes, and both her parents are murdered. She escapes and goes to look for the resistance because she's hoping if she finds the resistance, they will help her save her brother. Then we have our other character, Elias, I think his name is, and he is the daughter, he's the son of the leader of the masks, so you know, those masks assassins. He's the son of the leader, but his mother really doesn't care for him, and he's always been raised by his grandfather, and he's training to be one of these masked assassins in this like special school for masked assassins. He is getting ready to desert because he doesn't believe in the Empire, in the values. He doesn't believe in what he has to do, which is murder innocent people basically, and he's getting ready to desert. However, the day before he's about to desert, someone like high powered, like these creatures that live forever, they approach him and they say, if you escape now, you will never find peace, but if you stay and play out your destiny, you will finally find true freedom. He decides to stay, and actually another plot twist, I don't know if it's a plot twist, but you know, there's this like prophecy that the emperor, his line will die, and then they will need to have this big contest where they will find a new emperor, and the old emperor's line is actually about to die. So they have this big contest in order to find out who the new emperor is, and Elias is one of the people chosen. There's only 4 of them, and they're gonna basically Hunger Games it. That's what I'm getting from the trials. So they have to undergo these trials and see who wins. And then we're back to Leela, and she finds resistance, and the resistance says, we will help you, but you have to go and spy on the leader of the masks, which is the mother of Elias, right? So that's where we are now. I think that's like a synopsis that gives you a good idea what's happening, but not gives away too much. So far, really loving it. I think the actors are doing such a good job. They're like shouting when they need to shout, they're quiet when they need to be quiet. They're just like really good performances, which really enhances my ability to enjoy the story, I think. So far, I'm totally sold. I can see why people enjoy this so much. I'm gonna see how it goes, but so far, like I said, really enjoying it. I really like the 2 characters. They're very dynamic, very interesting. The whole world seems very interesting. I know this isn't just a trilogy, it's like a whole series. So we'll see where that will take us. I think it's a quartet actually, is it? I think so. As I'm only 30% in, basically what I told you literally is what happened. I feel really bad for Lila because Elias's mother is a bad person, and I'm excited. I really like Lila. I think she thinks of herself as a coward because she's not like super brave, and her mother and father were really big people in the resistance actually, but they got murdered when they were little, and she doesn't think of herself as brave, but she does a lot of brave things for her brother. So I really like that part. Elias, again, I really like him. I think he's gonna have some very interesting arcs. I'm really curious to see where this goes, and curious to see if he's gonna be emperor actually. That's the update for today because I'm in a hurry, if you couldn't tell. Okay, so I'm about 42% into Ember in the Ashes, and I don't have that many new things to say, but I thought I didn't really talk about the characters sufficiently in my previous clip because I was kind of rushing. We have the 2 main characters, and I really like both of them, and I especially enjoy the fact that, well, obviously it's going to be a romance, but they're not really being pushed together very quickly. They definitely have their own storylines, and they're dealing with their own things, and when they see each other, they're kind of attracted, but like, it's not a love story in that sense, and it's very like them 2 going through something and then maybe eventually like combining their strengths or whatever. But like for now, it's very much like 2 separate stories, and I like that because sometimes the romance can overtake, and I enjoy me some slow burn, so I like it. And I think both of the characters have their own personality, their different strengths, but they're feel very real, and I really enjoyed that. And I think this book is definitely quite brutal. There's some like scarification and maiming of characters by other characters, the slaves. So it's like a very brutal but real story, and I really enjoyed it. I find it really interesting. Every chapter I'm like, damn, I want to keep reading. Like I said, the audiobook, I just think they're doing such a good job. I'm really impressed by just like the voice acting, just like the emotion in it and all of that. I think it's done very well. So I'm enjoying my time. I'm really not complaining. I'm going on a walk later, so hopefully I can get at least like 10% more done. But so far I'm really enjoying it. I am surprised. I am very pleasantly surprised though, and I think definitely something I'd recommend, and I'm super curious now to keep going with the trilogy. I know that at least the first 3 books are on script. I'm not sure about the last one, so I'm just gonna keep reading the audiobooks and keep enjoying it. But so far, yeah, I just wanted to say, like, I'm really enjoying it. We love the bonding. Hello, I'm about 68% into the Ember in the Ashes, so I don't know if I have that many new things to say. I just felt like I wanted to tell you how much I'm enjoying it. It's really good. And I don't know, I just really like the relationships in the book as well, because it's not just the 2 main characters, but we have additional characters such as Helen, and then we have, I'm listening to the audiobooks, it's hard for me to remember names, but the ginger guy from the Resistance. And then, so it's like the 2 main characters, like, probably gonna get together, but they do each have like a potential other love interest, and normally I'd be like, I don't care, stop it. But I feel like it's done pretty well, especially Helen. I really understand why she's so close with Elias and how they're best friends and how he has very complicated feelings, because it's just there, it's like attraction by your best friends. I like how that's all executed. That's done very well, I think, very compellingly, to the point where I don't dislike, like, usually I dislike the second and like the third and fourth, because this is a love square at this point, or 2 love triangles, I don't know. Normally I dislike this. This is extremely common in Korean dramas, where we have the main 2 love interests, the main 2 characters who are each other's love interests, but then each of them will have their own love interest as well. Very common in K-dramas. So I'm familiar with the concept, and I have met many secondary and tertiary guy and girl, and I know that I don't always like it, but this way I think it's done very well. You understand where they're coming from, you understand the relationship there, you understand why they would be precious about it, and I'm like, because this is like 4 books long, I'm like, maybe we're gonna have a little side romance, if you know what I mean. I like that Alea has like a female friend that's really coming to focus with Izzy, and like I said, I just like that it's not just the main romance, because a lot of times the book will just focus on the 2 love interests and then falling in love, and like I said, the romance is very slow in this book. Like, nothing happened, they just both kind of think the other is hot, but there's so many reasons not to get into that. Like, they have their own thing going on, each of them have their own plot and stuff, so I enjoy that. And then on top of that, each of them has well-developed relationships that really endear me to them. Not much left now, I think only like 4 hours on my audiobook, so I'm very happy. I'm so happy I read this. Well, I don't know when you're seeing this video, probably like in a month or 2, but I'm also participating in the Ember in the Ashes read along, at least the first book. I don't know what I'm gonna get in the other books. I've already got the audiobooks saved on script, so maybe I can get to them, but I'm not sure. But it's like the Wild Sasha from the Wild Sasha channel, she's co-hosting it, so I don't know, depending on when this video comes out, maybe you can join as well. But I decided to read it this month because of this read along, and I'm really happy I did, and I'm really excited because I feel like I would have just put it off, you know. I finished the Ember in the Ashes, or the Ember in the Ashes. I finished Ember in the Ashes, and I loved it. I don't know, I give it 5 stars. I thought it was brilliant, really had me on the edge at the ending, and I love the development of the main character. I feel like she really came to her own. I love the message of her like development and where her journey took her. I really love the message of it. Overall, I thought the writing was brilliant. I thought the audiobook was slapped. It was so good. Like, those narrators did a really good job. I don't know if I'd like it as much if there wasn't like enhanced emotion from them. But yeah, I'm super excited to continue the series. I don't feel like I have that much more to say to you because I pretty much said everything I wanted about it, but I did really end up enjoying like the whole book, and I was gonna go on a walk, but then I didn't, and I was like, oh no, I'll finish it today. So I just lied down, played games on my phone, and listened to the audiobook because it was so good. And Script seems to have all the books, maybe except for the last one, so I am ready to continue with this series. Yeah, really, really loved it. TikTok, good for you. TikTok 1. Me 0, I guess. I don't know. It's not really a competition, but yeah, good on you, TikTok. Every single person on TikTok seems to love this one. So this one was like a safe bet, I guess, because everyone loves it. But the other 2 books, we'll see. They're more like niche, I guess, because there's just one person. Well, for each of them, or just one person that said it was good. Actually July now, and I'm gonna be reading The Midnight Bargain very soon. I have not started it yet, but what a coinkydink. I was just like looking for my NetGalley, and I actually have an ARC of this book. I got an ARC and like it expired, but I downloaded it on my Kindle. So that's fun. We can improve my NetGalley score, even though this book came out ages ago, and I could have been one of the first ones to know, but no, I didn't. That just shows I need to pay more attention to what I request on NetGalley. But yeah, I'm really excited because now I can get the book for free. I mean, I saved like £2. Craziness, I know. Yeah, the book is only for £2 as well. If I end up enjoying it, you want to check it out. It's very cheap. Also, the other night, I opened my special membership video from Books and Lala, which I think is just a combined 2 other videos, but with some additional footage. And she's reading The Midnight Bargain, and now I'm like hesitant. I might skip through that part and watch it later because I don't want to be like influenced, because she influences me a lot. So I don't want her to influence me on this. I don't want to know what I think about myself. But yeah, this is a very short update just to let you know we're back in the swing of things. We're back reading, and I'm gonna be starting it soon. I'm so excited. So I started The Midnight Bargain, and it's only like 2 days after I said I am gonna do it, and I'm already 45% in, so you know, it's going swimmingly. So in Midnight Bargain, it's kind of like a historical fiction. I don't think it's the real world, so it's like a historical fiction but also high fantasy. So historical fantasy. I think it's modeled after the Regency area. You know, when they had like similar dress to Bridgerton. Definitely gives off Bridgerton vibes, very much so. So we follow Beatrice, who is just entering the bargaining season. So bargaining season is when all of the young bachelors and bachelorettes meet and decide who they're gonna marry. So it's a lot like what you saw in Bridgerton, if you've ever seen it. It's like you say calling cards, and then men come and like introduce themselves, give gifts, and it's all about like wooing the lady so that she chooses you. So we follow Beatrice, and she is part of this bargaining season, but she really doesn't want to get married because in this world there's magic, and men are allowed to do magic as much as they want. They enter these places called charter houses, and from what I can gather, it's kind of like secret society meets Hogwarts. Like they teach them about magic and stuff, and women, they're kind of allowed to do magic, and they can do magic physically, but because magic comes to a large extent from demons or like souls, spirits, maybe not demons, but like spirits, and these spirits don't have any corporeal form, so they're very, very eager to get into the skin of people. And normally you can bargain with the spirit to like for them to enter your body for a little bit, and then you can get something from them. But the issue with women doing magic is that once they're pregnant, the spirit could like go into the baby. Like the baby's not born right, it's born possessed basically. So that's why women, they can do magic until they get married, and then they put this collar on them that stops their magic, and they basically can't do magic at all. And Beatrice really loves doing magic, and she doesn't want to get married. She wants to keep doing magic, and she's hoping hoping that if she can summon a greater demon, the demon could enter her body and like bargain for prosperity for her family, so that she wouldn't have to marry. But the issue is that her family is really poor because of some poor investments, so they're really like, this is their last shot, because if she doesn't get married, then basically the debtors are going to take everything. But Beatrice, sweet Beatrice, so she, in order to summon the demon, she needs a grimoire, and the grimoire is like a book with spells and incantations and stuff, and she finds one, but when she's in the store she gets stopped by these two very, very rich kids, and she kind of has to give the book, but then they're like, become our friends and you can have the book as well. So it's like a lot of propriety and politics to an extent, and I am loving it. I'm really, really enjoying it. So like I said, I'm already 45% in. I don't think it's a very thick book. I think it's only about 300 something pages, so like it's not a huge book, but like it's been going like crazily fast. I wanted to like update you, but it's only been like a day I think, and I wanted to update you before I got too far in, but I just like couldn't put it down. The chapters are very long, which normally is not my preference, or maybe not very long, but they're longish. I really like the Bridgerton vibes. It's really like scratching the itch I wanted. I was promised Bridgerton, and it's basically it. So, you know, like, I'm not complaining. There's a lot of that, oh, you have to marry for love or marry for money, or I really want to get with this boy but he's too good for you, or like above your station kind of thing. And I really, really enjoy it. I especially really like the conversations that come up, because women are treated so differently, and even within the world, they're treated very different depending I think it's a country, depending which country they're from, because our main character, she's from like a very, very strict society, so the women basically have to wear like the collars till they hit menopause, but in other countries, for example, they only have to wear it when they're pregnant or something. So it's very different level of strictness, so that's really interesting. And I especially really, really, really love the romance. So the relationship between Beatrice and the rich boy, I like how they talk, you know, like they develop feelings for each other kind of because they discuss things and clash on things and really have a lot of conversations. Kind of makes you realize how little sometimes love interests actually talk to each other about important things, not just like getting to the next plot point or whatever. And it's not just like small talk, it's like really in-depth discussions about their world. And I love how Beatrice, despite the fact that she was really conditioned not to, she still challenges him on his views, all of that. Like, Beatrice is an amazing protagonist. I mean, I can see how she's gonna get frustrating because she's being a bit too bold with some of her choices, but I like that she's free-spirited. No, maybe not free-spirited, but she's spirited, right? And she knows what she wants and she's going for it. But at the same time, like, she cares about her family and she knows the repercussions, and she's not one of those people that are just like, you know, a lot of times in books they're just so headstrong to the point where no one and nothing else matters, and that really bothers me, because like I would always think about my family and I'm like, why aren't you? That just means you're not a great person, you know what I mean? Maybe the world building is a little bit lackluster because like I still don't know quite a lot of what's happening, but like I'm enjoying the ride and it's been very, very, very fun. It has all the tropes you might want. Okay, so it's been days, and I've read not that much. I mean, I've read overall, but I just haven't read any more of The Midnight Bargain. So I'm 77% in. I'm not sure when I checked in with you, and I've been like kind of like avoiding it, not because the book is bad, but I just, you know, when you feel that final bit coming on where something's gonna go wrong and probably the main character is gonna make some really stupid choices, and like I don't like that part of the book. Like, you know, every romance book as well, there's always like when they like have a big fight and misunderstanding or whatever, they don't talk to each other for like 5% of it. Yeah, I'm not a fan. I just don't like it. So in my head, I'm just like, I'll read this in a bit. I'll finish later. And I need to. Like, why am I postponing it? I don't know. I started reading Atlas 6 and that was my mistake. That book is really good. Midnight Bargain aside, I've started The Firekeeper's Daughter and so far it's so good. So basically, I'm about 40% in. I'm listening to it on the audiobook. So I was just like walking to work and then I was like chilling at work and I was like coming back from work and I just listened to it and somehow I ended up listening to 40%. I don't know how it happened, but I did, okay? This book, it's by an Indigenous author, and we also follow a character who's Indigenous, but she's like half Indigenous, and I think her mom is white. So she always felt a little bit like she doesn't belong because her dad's not on her birth certificate, which means she's not technically recognized as part of her tribe. So I think she's not enrolled, I think. So she can't be like in the tribal council or whatever. But her Indigenous identity is like a really big part of herself. Like her dad's family, like the grandma and aunt, like a really big part of her life. And they really, really respect the culture, and she really respects the culture as well. And she knows a lot about it, right? So her grandma had a stroke, and because of that, her mom's like goes to the hospital a lot, takes care of her grandma, and she decides that she will put her dreams of becoming a doctor, I think, on hold, and she's gonna go to a local university instead of out-of-state university. And like her friend is really excited about it. So her best friend, his name is Lily, and she really is excited about the main character like joining the school as well and all of that. I don't have too much to tell you. Basically, there's this new boy at school who, well, not at school, I think they've graduated now because she's going to university. So he's like part of the varsity hockey team, I think, and she kind of likes him, but he has a girlfriend and they become buddies, whatever. Then there's a crime that happens. So someone shoots her best friend. So her best friend's ex-boyfriend, he did meth, and during one of the episodes he killed her best friend and killed himself. So that's kind of like the turning point of the book. And then the main character gets involved with the FBI and joins the investigation as a private consult. What's it called? Yeah, so she joins the investigation like that because she wants to find out who's been bringing meth into her community. So the book kind of like, it started off really like a cute, maybe rom-com, like really adorable. We're going to uni, we're meeting a new boy, we're hanging out with my friend. Like, it was really cute. Uncle also died because of meth overdose. So there was always like other tones of that, but like it was really like, oh, so cute, it's cute. And then I think it was 18% in, bam! And the whole thing changes. And this is not a criticism, it's just how it is. Yeah, and just took a turn, and like I really am loving it. First of all, it's written really well. I think it really weaves like the language, because there's some Indigenous language used, the culture, all of that. It weaves the explanations for it so seamlessly, and it just makes you feel like you're learning as well and finding out more. And I feel like everyone can get something out of this, because maybe if you're Indigenous yourself or like Native American yourself, you will find that this shows you parts of your culture that are similar, parts that are dissimilar, just maybe something you recognize. But then if you're like me and you're not Indigenous, I'm learning so much because it's so informational, but in like a very sneaky, not expositional way. I don't know how to explain it. Like, at least I don't feel like it's exposition. It's just her thinking and talking about her culture like in a very accessible way, if that even makes sense. So like, I'm really enjoying it. I like that it has a little bit of a mystery thriller element going on as well. I like that the character's like in college, so you know, she's a bit older, and I think she's 18. So it's not like a teen, it's like a teenager, but not like a 15-16-year-old. So I finished The Midnight Bargain last night, and I kind of read it all in one sitting, and I got from that 77%, and I shouldn't have been so worried because the character didn't make that many stupid choices. Like, it wasn't that bad. It didn't embarrass me too much, you know? Yeah, and actually, like, I really enjoyed it. I think it had a lot of important themes, mainly to do with like reproductive rights and women's rights, feminism, and it was very on purpose. I don't know. It was very on purpose by the author, because they said that it was prodded by the tendency for the government to like stifle women's right to choose, and yeah, it just like the current climate. And I think it was done very well. It was really hard because you kind of like the main character, you really like the main love interest and the boy, and it's like all adorable. But if she marries him, she basically has to wear this collar her whole life that just restricts her access to magic, or they can have children. And this time in Regency era and stuff, like having sons was really important, having children was really important. And it's like, you're kind of between a rock and a hard place, and like, what can we do? And it just feels, yeah, it felt a bit overwhelming, honestly. And when they were talking about how it feels to have this color and how the main character feels about the whole ordeal and why she's making the choices she's making, like, you're really empathizing, and I felt really bad for her. I've really understood where she was coming from, and it was kind of terrifying to think about living in a place like this. Like, I know our times are maybe not ideal and there's still some room to grow for women's rights and stuff, but it was still like very jarring when it was so obvious, you know. And yeah, it was very important conversations. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was done very well, and I would recommend it if you wanted something more on a feminist, reproduction, women's rights angle. Like, I think that book did it very well. I was really impressed. I always find out many interesting things when I look through my spreadsheet when I add the books, because I track things like authors' gender identity, their race, where they're from, all of that. And turns out the author of this book goes by they, them pronouns. So again, if I said differently before, I'm sorry. I was not aware until I did my research doing the spreadsheet. So I'm not sure what the author's ethnicity is, but doing some research, I actually stumbled upon this really interesting review, like a blog post review about this whole book, and I just found fascinating what it said. So basically, this review mentioned how the main love interest and his sister, who are like considered like higher in society, they come from a more progressive world and all of that, they're Black, and I don't know, it didn't really click in me. But when this person in a blog post explained how the fact that the main love interest and his sis and their whole family and this country that's like known as being more progressive, and this family is being like higher and richer in society, how them being Black actually is quite a unique view, because in Regency era you don't expect to see that many Black characters or characters of color at all. It's already white, and then if they are, they're considered usually be lesser than. And this is a very on purpose subversion of that. So I'm gonna link that article or that blog post review if you want to check that out. I thought it was a very interesting read. The author said that she's, I think, Black herself. So that was really illuminating. I really liked reading that, so I'm gonna link it below. But that kind of prompted me to do some more research, and I went on the author's Twitter and stuff, and they mentioned how they don't think that anti-Blackness has to be inherent in fantasy, especially in historical fantasy, just because it's what was happening in our world, and that this freedom to portray Black people like having a high status in society is a way of working through racial trauma and stuff like that. And it's really like nice and refreshing to see for people of color and everyone, really. Like, I thought it was really cool, even if I didn't click on it myself, because I barely read character descriptions. I just skim them a bit, but that's on me, that's my bad. I really need to be better at not skimming them. I'm very interested by reading some different books from this author as well. Definitely some poignant commentary, very good writing, really cute romance like we love, a cute cinnamon roll bun boyfriend who'll do anything for his love, and in the end I thought it was really good. So yeah, I gave it 4 stars, and I would highly recommend you read it as well, because it was some prime goodness. And I think I'm gonna check out some Regency era historical romance. I have that itch now. I just finished Firekeeper's Daughter, and that was so good. Yeah, so everything I said so far, I guess, stands. I guess I didn't talk about it that much, but I just absolutely admire the author's ability to transform you, invite you, guide you through this experience, because I learned so much about Indigenous traditions of this specific tribe. I don't know, it was just so wonderfully, masterfully done, and the main character just has such power to her, and she feels so real, and that's why it's even more heartbreaking. There was a scene involving sexual assault, so I would be really aware of that going into it if that's something that can trigger you. The themes of community, it just always gets me, like books about community. It kind of reminded me about When No One Is Watching, because towards the end of that book, the community kind of comes together, especially the elders, and in this book as well, the elders had a big role to play, and I just loved seeing that, and I loved hearing all of the thoughts and feelings of the main character on like her place in the world and her tribes. And I love that it kind of stuck to its guns in a way, because it kind of kept it kept a lot of the indigenous traditions, but also it had this like mythology weaved into it, and it was like done with such respect and thoughtfulness. I love that. Yeah, this book was absolutely amazing, and it's so inspiring because I just watched like an interview with the author, and she had this book idea at 18 years old. She's 55 now, at least she was 59 I think when the book came out, and it's just amazing how she held on to it, you know. I feel like I had so many ideas when I was young, and they like kind of stay with me, and kind of makes me feel like, you know, one day maybe I will give it a chance as well. Maybe something will come of it. And this book is actually getting a adaptation. So I think is it the Obama? They have a movie studio and they bought the rights to it. I love the themes in it. And even as a thriller, this book just works so well. I feel like I was gripped. I was at the edge of my seat. It was absolutely phenomenally done. I'm so impressed. I'm just so impressed. This book was really, really amazing. I gave it 5 stars. So let's just recap, yeah? Book number 1, 5 stars. Book number 2, or like 5 or 4, I don't remember. Book number 2, 4 stars. Book number 3, 5 stars. Guys, I think the TikTokers know what they're talking about. Who'd have thought? I did not expect to love all of these, but these were all amazing recommendations. I think I'm gonna do a part 2 because, you know, TikTok is just getting started and there's so many more books that they're telling me to read, so why not give it a chance? I had so much fun making this video. I loved all of the books and I'm just so glad I read all of them. If you come out of this video and you're looking for one single recommendation, please make it Firekeeper Daughter. I think it's such an important read, and it just like, it's really, really, really valuable, I think. So you have to read that one. But then Ember and Ashes was really good too. And Midnight Bargain was really good. So if you're looking for some Regency, feminist themes, go for that one. But that's it from this video. Thank you so much for watching. I enjoyed this immensely. So I hope you enjoyed as well. I would love to hear from you if you read any of these books. Let me know what you thought about them. And more importantly, if TikTok made you read any book, like specific book that you read specifically because TikTok recommended it, let me know, because I want to know. I want to do part 2. Maybe your recommendation will be one of the books. I mean, you didn't have to like the book, you just had to read it because of TikTok, so let me know. Thank you so much for watching. If you could like, comment and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. Really helps me out. If you want to follow me on TikTok, I've been really terrible at posting, but I have like 20 videos in drafts, so you know, one day I'll actually get to posting them. That's it from me, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!